Intestinal tuberculosis can further be divided into three parts. There can be ulcerative type, which is more common. It is seen in about 60% cases. Now, what are the pathological types of intestinal tuberculosis? Pathologically, now we are talking about intestinal tuberculosis, right? About the other individual forms, we'll discuss separately. So, intestinal tuberculosis, you already know that most of the patients are having intestinal tuberculosis, 65% cases are these. Intestinal tuberculosis can further be divided into three parts. There can be ulcerative type, which is more common. It is seen in about 60% cases, where there are shallow ulcers seen in the intestine, mostly in the jejunum and ileum region. They can also be seen in the colon region. Second, you have the hyperplastic, which is seen in about 10% cases. In hyperplastic, there will be no ulcers, but there will be stenosis, fibrosis, and pseudotumor like mass formation in hyperplastic form. And then you can have ulcerohyperplastic. Ulcerohyperplastic will have combination of both. There will be hyperplastic lesions also, and there will be shallow ulcers also present. That is seen in 30% of these cases. Most common variety is ulcerative form. Ulcerative form is especially common in children who are having SAM, severe acute malnutrition, potential MCQ. Which variety of TB is common in severe acute malnutrition? It is the intestinal tuberculosis of ulcerative form, which is more common. So, let us discuss some individual details of these. First, we have the ulcerative type of intestinal tuberculosis. So, this is the active form. It is a very active and infected form. There is bowel inflammation and wall fibrosis with regional lymph node involvement. Initially, it begins as infiltration of the mucosa and Peyer's patches. Quickly, this evolves into shallow ulcers in the intestine. Mostly intestinal ulcers occur in small intestine, but they can also be seen sometimes in the large intestine. So, shallow ulcers will be seen. What are the features of these shallow ulcers? That is important. These ulcers which are formed in this, they are first of all superficial, and they do not cross beyond the muscularis mucosa. The muscular layer which is present in the mucosa, they do not penetrate beyond that. Secondly, these shallow ulcers, they are single or multiple, and they have normal areas which are unaffected areas in between. Third thing, which is very important, they are transversely placed. So, they are transverse ulcers. So, they are transversely placed to the long axis of intestine. They are transversely placed to the long axis of intestine, and as the disease progresses, they tend to coalesce and lead to complications. So, the transverse placement, you can get a question based upon this. This is the typical location of how these ulcers are transversely placed. If this is the normal long axis of the gut, they are transversely placed along this. So, these are the ulcers. These are the location along which they are present. So, this is the typical location, typical morphology of ulcers seen in patients of ulcerative tuberculosis. This is a real life photograph, autopsy photograph, post-op photograph, where you can see a transversely placed ulcer being present. The gut has been cut and it is being shown like this, right? So, this is the typical morphology. It is a potential visual which can be asked to you in super specialty exams. So, as disease progresses, these ulcers, they become confluent and the fibrosis now becomes extensive in them. This will result in bowel thickening, there will be stricture formation, and there will be pseudotumor mass lesion. The stricture formation will typically manifest in the form of napkin ring constriction. So, napkin ring constriction will be common, also called as hourglass constriction. So, this kind of constriction will be present, where ulcers are transversely present in these individuals, producing features of obstruction in the intestine. And sometimes fistula formation similar to Crohn's disease can be seen. And in addition to ulcerative form, you will find that there will be nodular tubercles. They will start forming on the outer, that is serosal surface, in these patients. So first is your ulcerative type. So an MCQ point, bleeding is found to be rare in intestinal tuberculosis despite ulcers. Why? Very simple. There is a word called as end arteritis which is responsible. There is associated end arteritis. This produces ischemia of the bowel, and this also contributes to stricture formation because there is relative ischemia in the gut. These ulcers, one reason is they are shallow, but even if they are shallow, they should bleed. They don't bleed easily because there is end arteritis producing relative ischemia in the region of these ulcers, and that is why bleeding is rare. Hematemesis, melena, hematoschisia are not described as common presentations in tuberculosis. Please remember this. Normally, we tend to think that if there are ulcers, they will bleed. Hematoschisia, bleeding, if you look at the causes of them in frequency wise, tuberculosis does come, but it comes quite late, quite low in the list, frequency wise. And so, this is a potential MCQ point. Second variety we discussed, hypertrophic type. Hypertrophic type is seen in about 10% cases. They are usually seen in well-nourished children. So, these children will not have severe acute malnutrition. There will be thickening of the bowel wall, there will be scarring, and there will be fibrosis, and rigid mass like pseudotumors will form. So, hypertrophic mass along with rolled up omentum, they will form a mass-like lesion in the intestine when you palpate from the outside. And thirdly will be ulcerative hypertrophic, both varieties existing. So, hypertrophic forms, adhesions are also there, and ulcers similar to what we described, they are also there. So, they are mainly seen in the ileocecal region and colon. And ulcers along with the hypertrophic presentation will be seen in these individuals. And they sometimes may have a lump in the right iliac fossa. The lump in the right iliac fossa is, again, it will be usually involving the ileocecal region.